Esta conferencia comenzará a grabar.
So this session will be recorded and will be published on the Build Up portal in the coming days. It's also an interactive session. Well, you'll have the opportunity to unmute yourself and turn on your camera to participate in the discussions. We invite you to take part during the Q&A sessions, and we will kindly ask you to remain muted during presentations. The team will indicate when the floor is open for your questions and comments. You can also send any questions you have during the presentations through the chat to the Build Up team. And on that note, we'll begin with a short introduction to Build Up.
Welcome to Build Up, the European Commission's portal for energy efficiency and renewable energy in buildings. Directly stemming from the Energy Performance of Buildings Directive, Build Up is the meeting place for everyone involved in making the European building and construction sector more energy efficient. Every month we focus on a topic that is key to making Europe's buildings as energy efficient as possible. Exploring that, you can find the latest content such as expert talks, webinars, case studies, and more. From architects and engineers to academics and policy makers, we've got you covered. Build Up brings together thousands of registered members to reap the benefit of Europe's collective intelligence on all aspects of energy efficiency and renewable energy in buildings. The Build Up portal benefits from the expertise of our ambassadors. Drawn from industry and academia, the ambassadors bridge the gap between EU and national level and help shape our editorial content. Want to promote your work? Build Up disseminates your research, projects, and events through a variety of channels. Become a member to exchange knowledge with your peers. You can disseminate tools and resources, share good practices, and consult open source publications. Join the discussion on social media and become part of the Build Up community, or subscribe to our newsletter to receive the latest news. However you participate, the Build Up portal is here to inspire, inform, and connect. Build Up, the European portal for energy efficiency and renewable energy in buildings. Join the community for opportunities and updates.
It's a pleasure for Build Up to host today's interactive webinar entitled Local Authorities Policy Toolkit to Promote Circular Construction Skills, brought to you by BUS-GoCircular, ICLEI, and Build Up. This webinar is the first of a four-part webinar series hosted by Build Up this fall and organized by the BUS-GoCircular project. The series will highlight how different stakeholders could join forces to reskill and upskill the building sector workforce with circular skills by highlighting the main takeaways and outcomes of the project. The target audience for today's webinar is local authorities. The session today will be as follows. We'll begin with the presentation of the project and overview of the main outcomes from Leslie Petitjean, Senior Expert in Circular Economy at ICLEI, and Helena O'Rourke-Otoki, Expert in Procurement at ICLEI. Leslie and Helena will continue the introduction with the first poll of today's session, followed immediately by the presentation of the training materials for local authorities. We'll then hear a presentation on the fundamentals training packs for SMEs from Empar Juarez, Architect and Technical Project Manager at FEVEC, after which Leslie and Helena will once again guide us through the second poll and the first Q&A session for today. This will be followed by a discussion on how a local authority could stimulate circular skills in the construction sector with the help of an example from Toulouse Metropole with Life Waste to Build project. This will be presented by three presenters. Firstly, Noga Raviv, Employment Project Manager at Toulouse Metropolis. Julie Veracchia, Circular Economy and Materials Reuse Project Manager at Envirobat Occitanie, excuse my pronunciation. And finally, Jeremy Bernard, Project Manager at Toulouse Metropolis. We will then round off today's webinar with the final poll and the second Q&A session. We invite and encourage the audience to send us questions through the GoToMeeting chat that can be answered during both Q&A sessions, as well as to actively take part in the discussions. You will be able to find this webinar recording on the Build Up portal and on our YouTube channel in the coming days, together with the presentation slides. And now, without further hesitation, we'll move directly to our first speaker of today, Leslie Peterson, Senior Expert Circular Economy at ICLEI. Leslie, the floor is now yours.
Thanks. I think you can go directly to the second slide, actually, because the first slide was actually the title. Yeah, so next one already. Yeah, thanks. So hi everyone, I'm really happy to be here. So I'm Leslie Petitjean. I am a senior expert in circular economy team in ICLEI. Maybe just like a really few words on ICLEI. ICLEI European Secretariat is a network of local authorities. So we are based in Freiburg, and we have also an office in Brussels and in Berlin. And so we represent the voice of cities in different fields of sustainable development. And so Elena and I represent ICLEI today. We are part of the BUS-GoCircular project to actually represent cities and to help them to go to this journey of circularity, especially in the construction sector. So maybe just the last slide, sorry, Emily, why circular construction? Just before. Yeah, just before, like the last, yeah, thanks. So maybe just a few words on circular construction, even though I'm pretty sure that most of you are aware of the challenges on why we need to move towards like a more circular construction sector, but just some key figures to have in mind. So we know that actually the construction sector is responsible for a lot of environmental impacts regarding the energy consumption, regarding the CO2 emissions, but also regarding the waste production, because like the construction sector represents around 70% of waste production. So we definitely need to move towards like a more circular approach to actually lower the resource consumption in the construction sector. And there is like a graphic that you can see on the right, which is quite interesting. I think that it shows actually that the extraction for non-metallic mineral materials increase of 50% since the beginning of the 20th century. So given that the population increased around 5 times, so we can consider that for each habitant, the extraction of mineral materials has increased 10 times, which is actually huge, and we know that this is not sustainable. So we definitely need to move to a circular construction sector. But as you know, and like any transition, we definitely need also a skilled workforce for this, and we know that we are not there yet, and so that's why we have developed it conjointly with other partners, this BUS-GoCircular project. So Emily, if you can launch the video of the BUS-GoCircular project, please.
Yes, sure, one moment.
Yeah.
Build Up skills projects work on sustaining of the built environment. This to build capacity in the construction sector needed to take up the challenge of empowering the renovation wave. For example, in H2020 sister project BUS League. With regards to the renovation wave, there are several important drivers. The energy transition towards a green and just system of energy supply and use. The material transition to unlock the powers of the circular economy in order to ensure an affordable and far more sustainable energy transition. The climate transition in order to ensure climate robust and flexible interventions needed to mitigate climate change. The digital transition needed to energize and upscale both demand and supply. In BUS-GoCircular, we explore how the material transition can be applied intertwined with the thrust delivered by the energy, climate, and digital transitions. This to boost both the speed and the long-term sustainable impact. When you want to surf the renovation wave as a professional, enjoying the power and free energy of the wave, upskilling and training are essential. Within BUS-GoCircular, we are focusing on one big and hairy audacious topic where many elements come together. Realizing multifunctional green roofs, facades, and interior elements which are contributing to energy transition, climate adaptation in a circular way. All this while harnessing the power of digitization. As you can see, working on sustaining the built environment gives many opportunities for value creation by integration of multifunctional green roofs, facades, and interior elements. In order to do so, BUS-GoCircular works with a full value chain approach involving and connecting relevant people and expertise needed. By application of the Key Elements Framework, Circular Economy, the consortium develops a circular skills qualification framework for sustaining the built environment. This, together with several other outcomes, BUS-GoCircular delivers a powerful new set of tools for sustaining the built environment in a circular way. By application of the Key Elements Framework, the consortium develops a circular skills qualification framework for sustaining the built environment. That will be applied to the topic of multifunctional green roofs, facades, and interior elements. BUS-GoCircular has several actions dedicated to stimulate demand for circular skills, such as guidelines for green public procurement and use of the Build Up Skills Advisor app to trigger and upskill. To put the results to use in practice, BUS-GoCircular Works will train a group of trainers from all over Europe. These trainers will get the mission to train at least one group of trainers in the country they work in. All trainers together will form a trainers community. In order to improve the reputation of the construction sector, BUS-GoCircular will work with a mentoring program for diverse talent. As the circular skills qualification framework should be replicable, BUS-GoCircular will test the use of the framework into at least 2 other domains, for example, on wall isolation and on ventilation systems. BUS-GoCircular, step-by-step empowering and greening the circular renovation wave.
We hope they enjoyed this quick introduction. Yeah.
Maybe if you can go back to the slides, Emily.
Yes, here we go. Yeah. There is a slight delay when I change them.
Next one.
Okay.
And next one, yeah. So the outcomes, yeah, thanks. So you have seen on the video like the main outcomes that has been developed within BUS-GoCircular. So actually, the one for today will focus on the materials that has been developed specifically for local authorities. So as Emily said in the introduction, this one is tailored for local authorities. But so there will be a series of webinars, of 4 webinars in total, which will be targeted for different audiences. So the second one will be the 14th of November for SMEs. And here they will present more tools for SMEs, like the fundamental training packs for SMEs and also the framework that has been developed. The third one will be for architects on the 28th of November, and they will present, for instance, the trainers session, and also how the architect can apply for continuous professional development throughout the life of architects. And the last one of the series will be the 14th of December, and it will be more targeting for building research and training centers. And so here you will know more about the different outcomes and training materials that has been developed specifically for training centers, and you will know more also how you can use it. So I don't know actually the audience of today. I mean, I think mostly this is local authorities, but I think there is also other participants. It could be other architect or training centers. So for you, there are some specific workshops that are tailored. So please register. They're also available on the Build Up Skills page. So yeah, feel free to register. We'll be happy to give more information about this. And the next slide is actually a Slido poll, just to take the temperature about also the main barriers that you are facing in your organization regarding skills in the construction sector. So
and
you
to
can
join is very simple. So you have two options. If you have a smartphone, you can just scan the QR code that appears on the screen, and your phone will bring you directly to the poll once it's open. If you cannot do that at the moment, you can just open a new tab in your browser and go to slido.com, so SLIDO.com, and enter the code 1381330, and you should be able to see the poll. And we'll now just launch the first question. Yes, it should be active, and you should be able to see the question. So if you have any difficulties with accessing the poll, yes, this is appearing nicely, but we don't have yet any respondents. So we would need you to answer the question also. So yes, we have the, so I understand that the challenges are the lack of skilled workers and the lack of knowledge in circular construction. Yeah, knowledge is the key thing. Reuse, yeah, like doing what's familiar to people.
the cost as well. The stress, like reuse is expensive, is usually more expensive, true, but it's also related to skills actually, because yeah, if we don't have skills people, so for sure the companies that have this knowledge, they will also sometimes increase the price. Could be risky. Question of habits as well.
Mm-hmm. Public procurement, well, we'll solve that in a second. Yeah, political will, decision making, I think it has to come from the top as well. I'm not sure what Dimitar means.
Yeah, me neither. You can also unmute yourself if you want to participate, and the one who wrote Dimitar, because for us it's a bit unclear, but yeah, feel free to unmute yourself and to participate. This is really what we want.
I'm sorry, I just wrote my name instead of
okay. So hopefully it's not a barrier.
Another word you can remove for me, please.
Okay. You're not a problem. You're part of the solution.
Yeah.
There is one which is interesting. I think it's lack of time to upskill, which is actually a great issue that we know that we lacking time, and especially when we engage contractor as well. But I think Elena will also, talk about this issue.
When you say personal motivation of the workers or of public authorities, I guess it could be, or of everyone involved in the value chain. Whoever wrote personal motivation can unmute themselves and explain this a bit further also. No. Well, best practices, yes, the sharing of best practices is quite important as well in the demand. So yeah, we have quite a few answers. I think we'll keep the poll open still for a few more minutes, but I think in the interest of time, we can start moving on, and I'm taking some of the challenges that we see here. So if we can go back to the presentation. So yes, so as mentioned, today we'll focus at what measures can public authorities at the regional or local level can do to stimulate demand for construction skills. So the circular economy in the built environment will not happen at scale unless the workforce, including architects, designers, construction handlers, bricklayers, etc., have the skills to do so. So we're going to look today at the different levers and powers that public authorities have. And the first one, and quite important one, is public procurement. So next one, please. So public procurement is one of the direct ways that public authorities can have an influence on skills. As many of you probably already know, public procurement represents 14% of the EU GDP. And by managing and overseeing the works happening in their own buildings and being a big employer, so public authorities employ 25% of the workforce in Europe. So this is a huge potential for market. But also, which skills are required to do the jobs for the public sector also matters. And by demanding certain assets and requirements through tenders and using certain building standards, credential or certificates, you can send a powerful signal to the market that this is the direction of travel that we need to go through. So I hope by the end of my presentation, you'll see that public procurement is a very exciting tool. Can we move on to the next slide, please? So as part of BUS-GoCircular, we at ICLEI developed a training material for public procurers. You can download it from our website. We'll share the link in the chat later. So this training gives an overview of the different ways that public procurers can simulate construction skills. And we'll give you 6 strategies of how this can be done. So next slide. So the first step that we have identified is training your own staff. If you can go already to the next slide. So public procurers, the building departments, the different departments involved in the constructions, also the departments involved in the employment of people can be trained to know about the circular economy, how this applies to their work, circular construction, and as well as how to design a circular project and what criteria and tools can be embedded. So this can be done in-house by sharing knowledge across the different departments, but also by hiring an external consultant. Next slide, please. The step number 2 is, I think as many of you know, is engaging your contractors as early on as possible. Next slide, please. So by engaging workers and the business sector as early on, you can identify and explain the circular economy ambitions of the city to the construction sector, but also understand what's their starting point, what challenges they face. This is also a two-way conversation to understand what skills the market already has and how they can upskill further in the skills gap. This is also important to identify ways to avoid single building so that more companies can meet the criteria that you need, and how these could progress, or these standards could progress over time to send a signal to get them prepared over time. Then the further strategy, next slide please, is procuring selective demolition and construction services. Next slide please. So the most circular approach is to reuse and make the most of what's already there. So before building new, it's important to reuse the materials that are already in circulation. So cities and local authorities can map out buildings are reaching the end of their functional life and cannot be refurbished or retrofitted. You can sort of procure the selective demolition and material audits. So these are scans of buildings to see which materials and building components can be reused for further projects. So by procuring these services, you can already identify which materials and potential sites can be reused. And you can also provide training and guidance on how to conduct these audits. Moving on to the fourth strategy, you can prevent waste by design. So next slide, please. By demanding that buildings meet certain circular standards by either being modular, by being designed for different purposes. So a school can also be a sports venue, etc. Designed for durability and including reuse or salvage materials in these new construction projects can be useful, but you can also require that architects, designers, and the people who will be involved in the project meet certain standards and skills. Then the next step, logically, next slide please, is to, when you have a new building, is to maintain, retrofit, and refurbish it to the highest standards possible. Next slide, please. So by keeping the buildings to the highest standards as possible, you ensure that they last in time. And you can do that by fast-tracking permits for renovation projects. And by procuring these renovation projects regularly and ensuring that the public sector is a regular buyer of these services, you can also ensure that workers are upskilled and reskilled in the latest refurbishment and retrofitting standards. So this is always an ongoing process, and to ensure that buildings last as long as possible. Next slide, please. The last and final, but quite powerful tool is the inclusion of training clauses in tenders. Next slide, please. So by this, we mean that you can include clauses in contracts where the winning contractor has to commit to training their staff on certain aspects. This could be on how to include secondary raw materials in that project, or how to build and put together the building materials in a way that can facilitate later on the construction when this would be needed. So you can include these clauses, but you can also enforce them by having penalties if the contractor doesn't meet your needs, and overseeing how the workers have progressed and the skill gaps has diminished. There's another aspect which Leslie will cover, that you can also procure a planning team that has the skills to do so. But without further ado, we'll move on to the broader public procurement is only one lever, but there's also many other ones that public authorities can use. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Elena. So I'm following also with the guidance that we have developed for public authorities. So Elena explained the different facets of the public procurement that can be used to stimulate a demand for skilled people in the construction sector for circularity. I will stress mostly the other ones, and just to let you know that you can find this guidance if you want to know more on BUS-GoCircular website. So it will be shared within the chat, and there will be also the QR code at the end of the presentation. So just to give this overview, there are like many levers that local authorities could use. So master planner, economic developer, so building owner and public procurer, but I won't detail this one because it has been detailed by Elena. As a financial partner and regulator as well, as a network facilitator, and as a urban planner. So next slide, please. Yeah, thanks. So as a master planner, so as you know, and maybe some of you has already developed some circular economy action plan or sustainable development plan or whatever the name is. So actually within this plan, you can already embed some measure for circularity in the construction sector. So for instance, this is what the city of Riga has done. So they have incorporated an introduction to a circular economy course in higher education and master program. and directly within their circular economy action plan. So it's one kind of an action that can be integrated in this, what we call master plan, to stimulate skill workforce. So next slide, please. So as an economic developer, you can do actually a lot. So you can support training organization, you can support also companies who want to develop this business model on circularity. So one of the example that can be inspiring, this is the municipality of Amsterdam, was done this in a district which is called D Sevel Hub, which is actually a temporary land that they have allocated to businesses who wants to develop the business model on sustainability and circularity. So actually, when you publish a tender, when you have like this land that you can choose to allocate to certain companies, you can already target business activities who wants to develop their model with circularity. So this is one of the examples that has been done in Amsterdam, but there are several ways also that as an economic developer, you can stimulate the demand for skills. Next slide, please. Thanks. So as a regulator and as a financial partner, so here I won't detail all the subsidies that you can develop because as you are all aware, it could be a long list, but I think the example in Ireland is pretty relevant. So it has been developed with the construction professional skill net, and actually the business support agency of the Irish government provides fundings for companies who are keen to train and skill their workers in circular construction. So this is kind of like really basic action that you can do to support your companies who wants to develop some specific training program for the employees. Next slide, please. So as a network facilitator, so you will have really more detailed presentation on what Toulouse Metropolis is doing, because actually they are playing a great role on facilitation with local stakeholders. But an inspiring example could be what also has been done within Brussels by developing the network of Build Circular Brussels. So this is actually a platform that proposes a lot of actions for companies, for construction companies who want to develop circularity. And actually within this platform, you can have free training directly on circular construction for SMEs and very small also enterprise in Brussels area. So this initiative has been running by different partners, but supported by Brussels municipality. And next slide before giving the last poll. Yeah, so as Elena said, as a urban planner, you can do a lot, because we know that once the regulation for circular construction will be mandatory within the urban documents, we can assume that there will be a huge impact on skills, because companies will have to upskill their workforce. So this is one of the example in Czech Republic, in the city of Brno. I'm really sorry, maybe I mispronounced the name of the city, but they have developed a smart district, which is called Spitalka. And one of their goals is actually to implement the different environmental goals at the district level, including circularity. But so, as I said, we assume that the impact will be bigger if you plan some regulation at the district level, because it means that each building will have to be built in a circular way, and therefore the companies that will work on this district, they will have to be skilled. So if you increase when you're recruiting your urban planning team, if you ask for circularity skills within this team, so you can make sure that they will have a bigger impact also on the construction, on circularity in the construction sector. So next slide, please. Yeah, so here are the two QR codes that you can find to actually download either the training materials for public procurers and also the guidance that Elena and I have just presented right now. And also the links will be from the website will be shared in the chat by the Build Up teams. And so there will be like a second poll now on this, like to
Yes.
consider. Yeah. No, sorry. There will be the introduction of the training pack for SMEs just before the second poll. So I give the floor to Empire.
Sorry, Empire, you're muted. If you just unmute yourself first.
Now. Hello, everybody. My name is Empar Janes. I'm an architect and a technical project manager at FEBEC, and I'm going to explain you an insight of the training packs we have developed for SMEs at BUS-GoCircular to upskill their knowledge in circular construction. We have divided training packs, next slide, in 2 modules. The first one, module 1, will be common for all European Union, and for the second one will be developed more specifically for each country. I'm going to show you just a sum up with few slides. Next slide. In all sections there will be a time so that it's easier to make the time managing. To make the dossier more attractive, we have developed some interactive material. So when you click this module 1, it pops up a platform that is very easy to follow. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this module 1 is based in the 8 principles of circularity. Next one, that are prioritize the regenerative sources, stretch the lifetime. Next slide, sorry. Yeah, so it's prioritize regenerative sources, stretch the lifetime, use waste as resource. Next one. Design for the future, rethink the business model, incorporate digital technology, and team up to create joint value. Each of these principles is explained deeper and linked with case studies and examples. Next one. Next one. So this material is also added some videos besides the reading material, and at the end, next slide, there is also a simple quiz so the employees can rate what they learned during this module. Next slide, please, Emily. Yeah, this module 1 finishes with 2 workshops. That exercise that can be done in group or individuality. Next slide, please. They will take like 2 hours more or less to do. And they synthesize what has been learned in module 1. Next slide. So they show some strategies about how to implement circularity in the companies. Next slide. For example, taking one of the company's project, start to debate how this project can be designed or built to be fit in the future and develop some ideas. For this, there will be some questions like this one to guide the employees. Next slide, please. So there is these 2 exercises, and following these workshops. Next, please. Yeah, following this workshop, there will be the module 2, where each European partner has developed a more specific material for each country to adapt the current situation and the needs of how to implement circularity. This one is just an example and summarize the EU policy framework about circularity of the design and construction industry. Yeah, you can follow the next slide. And it's more like reading material about all the policy of generally to the EU. Yeah, you can pass through this slide because it's more like this reading material and information about this this model. Even though each country will develop their own material so that it's more focused on the needs of each country. So that's the summary of the training packages that we have developed. I just show you a summary of the 4 packets, but it's much more complete. They are developed to be easy to follow and learn the skills with some theory, videos, a quiz, and some workshops to make the learning process more active and in a dynamic way. So that will be the part.
Thanks, Empar. Sorry. So now we have the Slido poll. So same procedure that the last one, that the first one at the beginning of the webinar. So you can go on Slido, and this is still the same code that you have to enter. And now the question is, do you consider, so the tools that have been presented, do you consider using them actually? And do you think it could be useful for you? So yeah, we have like 5 to 10 minutes to discuss this. So yeah, Elena.
And if you had any questions or anything was unclear with our presentation, obviously we're going through quite a lot of material quite quickly. You can post these questions on the chat and we will try to pick them up during our first Q&A session later. But yeah, the poll is open. I think already quite a few of you are in there. So we can see that most people are considering using these tools, but would need more time. So maybe if anyone wants to unmute themselves and explain why is time such an important factor in this? No?
Yeah.
We have a quite shy audience this morning.
I don't know if the city of Lati is here, because we've seen in the chat that they say that they also have embedded courses like the city of Riga. So maybe it will be interesting maybe to know what they have done in Lati, and if they also consider using other levers, it would be great. I don't know if they are here or not, if they can unmute themselves. Or other people who want to speak, feel free.
Hi, my name is Joanne from Ireland. I suppose the time thing probably means about it's learning time, isn't it, out of your working day, so that you can improve your skills or understand the knowledge or where you might source those materials or indeed write the policy. But providing sessions like this is really helpful. So thank you.
That's great.
So which are your organization, maybe to know more, because it could be of interest.
I'm a sole trader, but it's something I need to learn about for work. I'm a landscape architect, so yeah.
Great, thanks.
Hi, it's Kimmo from Finland. I wrote a comment about Lahti. Because I live in Lahti, and I know that the University of Applied Sciences incorporated some 5-6 years ago a course of circular economy to different other offers to different other subjects like civil engineering or business economy or whatever, or designing. So there is about 1 month, 2 months course on circular economy in each, embedded in each other subject.
Oh, this is great.
If you have any links with more information, or even if it's in Finnish, maybe if you can share it with Build Up Skills, and then it could be posted in the chat for everyone. I see that the French Network Réseau, thanks Laurence, has shared some resources that they're also doing. Maybe Laurence, you want to give us some more information on this? If you...
Hi. Hello.
That's right. I try to find some.
Yes,
Thank you.
Reseco is a network of public entities, and we are trying to help them to integrate some circular or social and sustainable criteria in their tenders. And it's circular economy is a main topic, and construction as well. It's more my colleague who are in charge of, but I see you share the link. It's good. We had we created 2 links for everybody. One about a toolkit about how integrate bio-based materials in construction, and to help them to question and to ask the right question about bio-based and so. And another tool about reuse materials in construction. So yes, it's a main topic, and we have good practices. So yes, it's. But I heard some problems that public entities can meet, and it's comment dire, un frein.
A barrier.
A challenge, a
Yes.
barrier.
Challenge, thank you. Barrier, it's sometimes insurance. They are afraid of insurance because it's not new materials, and it can be a problem, this insurance. And I wrote to the policy and political will, because it's often a level as well, political will. So yeah.
Definitely. I think it makes a good transition actually to our next speakers for Toulouse Metropolis, because I assume that, I hope, that they have like a great political will for the project that they are currently implementing on the ground. So maybe Emily, if you can go back to the presentation, to the slide deck. So actually, we have presented the different tools, but with with Toulouse Metropolis and the Life Waste to Build project, we really want to show that there are many ways that a local authority could do on the ground to help to upskill workforce on the circular construction. And so we are pretty happy to host Toulouse Metropolis and his partner today to showcase, how wide the action could be on circular construction regarding skills as well. So Noga, Jeremy, and Julie, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I will do the introduction. Would you mind showing the next slide, please? Yeah. I'm Jeremy Bernard. I work in for Toulouse Metropolis in the Economic Development Department. Next slide, please. Okay. Next slide. Toulouse Metropolis is Wait, we'll do the presentation in 3 parts. One short introduction, one part with Noga, and the other one with Julie Verreca, one of our beneficiary partner of the project. Next slide, please. The idea of the project is to build in Toulouse Metropole with developing a circular economy. So would you mind the next slide, please? To begin with, Toulouse Metropole is regional capital of the Occitanie region, is in the southwest of France. And one important thing is that we've got an important population growth. So we've got a lot of housing to build. We've got a very dynamic construction sector. Next slide, please. Toulouse Metropole is a French local authority with different areas of expertise, like water and waste management, environment and sustainable development, development of gardens, greeneries, mobility, urban planning, economic development, etc. And we've got a political a strategy, circular economy strategy, which has been since 2019, and we've got an action plan with 3 roadmaps, and one of these roadmap is building the metropole with a circular economy. Next slide, please. So since 2021, we've got a project with a grant of the European Life project. It's a project for more than 4 years. The idea is to develop a different way of building the city. Regarding developing circular economy construction. We've got next slide, please. We've got 6 partners. Toulouse Metropole is the coordinator of the project, but we've got 6 partners. An association, Cinetic. We've got the INEC, the French Institute of Circular Economy. We've got the local Federation of Building and Public Work. We've got Envirobat. Julie will present Envirobat. We've got as well a business school, because we are trying to find a business model for all the services we are developing. And we've got as well the Scientific and Technical Center for Building, regarding questions like insurance you were talking about, and regarding the qualification of reused materials. Next slide, please. We've got big challenges with this project. The main idea is to develop the public procurement with criterion of circular economy. So the idea is to have 80% of public procurement with criteria like developing to develop circular economy. We've got important issues to and that the subject of today. We've got 60% of companies, local companies. We have to make them to be aware of these issues and to build skills for these companies. We've got environmental issues like reduce the impact, the environmental impact of the construction, and to have less waste production.
We don't hear you, sorry, Jeremy. We don't hear you anymore.
We have lost a connection.
Sorry, Jeremy, I think you're muted. I don't know, like, we cannot hear you. We can see that you're moving. Your lips are moving, but we don't hear you anymore. I don't know why. Does someone hear you, or I am the only one?
No, I think nobody
No,
can.
we can't.
Yeah.
No,
All right.
nobody can hear him.
Yeah.
No, still not. Can you hear us?
I think he can because, yeah.
Our technology, when you fail us, it's always a problem.
So we'll try with the headset. Maybe it will work better, hopefully.
Yeah, but so far this is a very, very interesting presentation and exciting to see what Toulouse is doing. Jeremy?
Can you hear me
Yes.
now?
Yeah, you're
Ah,
back.
okay.
Yes.
Okay, it's better
Go
with
ahead.
this mic. Okay, so I don't know where did you lose me.
You were talking about the 60% of
companies.
company.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Okay. Yeah, the main idea is to structure the sector of circular construction. So we've got important actions regarding building skills. Maybe the next slide, please. The main idea is that we've got a charter, a local charter with some important goals with quantified objectives. So we've got 24 local builders, local stakeholders that have signed this charter. And the idea is that they have to develop an exemplary site to develop local loops between resources from the constructions and building with that material new construction. We've got actually we've got today 46 exemplary projects that have been selected with various types of sites, local schools, big small housing, big equipment. We've got very various the idea is to have some local best practices and to learn from these practices. We have already got 2 completed projects, and the other are still in process. Demolition, construction, etc. The idea is to stimulate the demand to build and to structure the local economy regarding new ways of building. Next slide, please. We develop various tools like some guidance for public procurement, some new contracts to manage the exchange of materials from deconstruction to construction. We've got workshop regarding insurances, etc., etc. One of the main tools Toulouse Metropole has built is we have built a digital platform to manage to connect professionals, local professionals, for resources from demolition sites and to make them appealing from construction sites. So it's actually it's now a free of charge uses for local companies. And we'll try that during the project to see if we can find a business model from this tool, because it seems very useful. Yeah, next slide, please. Ah, okay. Don't hesitate if you have any questions regarding the project. Okay, maybe Noga, I leave you the floor.
Thank you very much. Next slide, please. Thank you. I'm Noga Raviv. I'm working on the employment department of Toulouse Metropole, and we are involved also in this project, in Waste to Build project, to support the development of the circular economy sector in the construction industry in terms of employment and training. Our involvement takes place at the following levels. First of all, the measuring the employment impact. Secondly, developing training for this sector, which is being established on our territory. The third point is to raising awareness for this new sector and making it known to the public, and also to the actors, for example, to employment actors. And fourth point is to encourage companies to adopt an inclusive approach in this respect. To achieve these various objectives, we have set up an employment group which brings together the actors involved in the Life Waste to Build project. We shall soon get the main players in employment and training involved in this operation. For example, Pôle emploi. I don't know how to say it. How do you say Pôle emploi is
job center? A job center,
yes,
maybe?
Yes, it's a job center. Thank you. It's
but
the public job center, and also the Région Occitanie, which is involved in training, and they may integrate the group employment and then our activities. Next slide, please. Thank you. As could be expected, the measurement of employment impact is considered at the first level of involvement, and this is being applied in two ways. First of all, it's the evaluation of the results of the actions of Life Waste to Build projects that will start soon. For that, a work study student is planned to be recruited in order to carry out this mission with us. And secondly, the measure of the sector progress on our territory. We thus carry out an analysis which shall be done every year by means of a statistical tool that will allow us, on the basis of the mapping of factors carried out by Envirobout, to obtain the key figures required. As an example, we have identified on a territory of Toulouse Metropole for this year 91 companies and 4,770 employees. That means 38 employees on average per company. The median turnover is 32 million euros. Another thing that is important, that 75% of these companies are located in Toulouse itself, and a large part, it's 43%, have been in existence for less than 6 years. Can you just show, please, next slide? Thank you very much. Here you can see that we have a really dynamic from 2015-2016 in our territory about actors that are concerned by economic circular in this field. Another thing that is important is that most of the companies are positioned in B2B and internationally. Another thing that I would like to say, that the role of the work study students that will recruited will support us by identifying the quantitative, that's as you can see, but also the qualitative needs of this developing sector in our territory, in involvement in training and in employment, and then we can find the way to respond to them in conjunction with the main players in the employment and training fields. Next slide, please. Thank you. The second action of the working group is to offer training to develop the sector by the following ways. First of all, there are new training courses on territory to meet the needs of the developing sector, and in particular, the training offered by Envirobat, which will be presented to you later. Training is also offered now by the Urban V3 Vocational High School, thanks to the support of the key players in the project, including Cinetic. But also we have the operational implementation of the training market for PEMD diagnosticals offered within the framework of the Ways to Build projects. This means making the training known to the actors of the territory thanks to dedicated information times. It also means establishing the link between the training and the financing organization and taking care of the validation and partial support to candidates according to the profile and the project. Similarly, we have aimed from the outset at an inclusive approach in this project. Among the 10 beneficiaries of this training, 4 are job seekers for whom we have fully finished the training. The validation of these profiles was carried out by Pôle emploi, the organization supporting job seekers. To be able to implement this experimental action, Toulouse Métropole has exceeded its skills. As part of an exceptional authorization, it was able to offer these training courses which did not exist in our territory. This action outside the scope of the of Toulouse Métropole is not without difficulty. On the one hand, we do not know the processes, nor the regulations, nor the actors, which of course slows down the process, especially since regulation relating to employment training evolve frequently in France. Likewise, despite our attempts to establish links with the Occitanie region and Pôle emploi, sustainability remains difficult for this type of project. Next slide, please. Thanks. A third component, not less important, is raising the awareness of the public to make this new sector known to the public, and in particular to people far from employment. We start the integration of the project into various employment actions. The objective is on the one hand to enable all audiences, including the less qualified and the most in difficulty, to access the new opportunities that will arise in this sector. On the other hand, the goal is also to meet the human resources needs of these construction companies, which are evolving their practices to integrate the new ways of doing things in order to make the sector of activity more attractive. Indeed, the construction industry, which has been experiencing major recruitment difficulties in France for several years, can thus attract new skills by responding to the challenges of the circular economy and the ecological transition. This work with the demand for employment will have only limited effectiveness if it were not accompanied by raising awareness among companies on their openness to profiles far away from employment. The role of the employment group is indeed to guarantee an inclusive approach of the development of this sector. Next slide, please. Thank you. This work with the demand for employment will have the objective is also to assure how can I say it, is to assure an inclusive approach by construct some paths to get to this sector. And the objective is to capitalize on this path to develop action on a larger scale to integrate a diversity of audiences into this sector, including audiences farthest from employment, by working on support and skills development. Thank you very much, and of course I'm here for questions. And now I give the it's really that continues.
Thank you, Noga. Hello, everyone. My name is Julie Verichia. I work as a project manager for circular economy and building materials reuse at Envirobat Occitanie. Envirobat Occitanie is a regional trade association, and our mission is to mobilize and equip those involved in construction and urban planning to reduce the environmental footprint and buildings of buildings and neighborhood. So we are a kind of cluster, a sustainable building and development resources center, and a training center. And we are a regional trade association with a cluster of around 250 members. We are based in Montpellier and Toulouse, and we cover the entire Occitanie region. And now I'm going to give you some concrete feedback about training and awareness raising initiative developed by the different partners of the project. Next slide, please. So for the trainings, Envirobat Occitanie has created 3 training models on the subject of the reuse of construction. And you can see them on the right side. First module is reuse of building and landscaping materials, methods and technique on 2 days. The second one is design of new and renovation project incorporating reuse materials in 1 day and a half. And the third one is selective deconstruction, how to turn your site waste into resources in 1 day and a half also. For all these training courses, there is a lot of participative workshop and some visits of different sites. And very great group cohesion. Participants systematically asked for other participant contacts, and they create a kind of a little cluster exchanging all these contacts. And for the selective deconstruction models, particularly there is a visit, site visit, and this is very appreciated by all the participants. Overall, our training courses are of interest both of their content for the diversity of participants, because we have architect, project manager, engineer, contractors, etc. So it's a great way to get away from the one size fits all approach. And you can see another model that Noga already spoke about. This is a PEMD diagnosis training. Toulouse Metropole has worked with LaboCert to develop this training course. And the objective is to promote reuse in construction and rehabilitation project, and to meet regulatory obligation and commitment made by project owner under the Life Waste to Build Charter. So Jeremy spoke about also. Next slide, please. There is other trainings in the project. It was not in the initial project, but the Life Waste to Build project has led to the creation of a complementary local initiative training, so FCEL, training courses, FCEL, on the management and recovering of wasting resulting from the deconstruction of building. So the course takes place over 1 year, just after baccalaureate, at the Urban Vitry's Professional High School in Toulouse. It was created in partnership with the French Federation of Building of Haute-Garonne and Cinétique, who participate a lot. And this course provides a specific qualification in the management and recovering of resources from building deconstruction, alternating classes and teaching at secondary school with work experience in companies. Next slide, please. Toulouse Metropole ran an hackathon with architecture and engineering students to create a tiny house. The objective of the tiny house is to show the feasibility of reuse in construction, to have a showcase to communicate about life waste to build and raise awareness of reuse, and to have a tool for regional promotion. So next year we had 55 students who work on the specification of this tiny house. And based on this work, Toulouse Metropole select 314 Conception, which is a reuse company in Toulouse, to create the life waste to build tiny house. And this year, other students, 20 students from a big school of architecture and 3 students of another school for engineering student, build furniture for this tiny house. Sorry, and they were supported by the company who was going to build this tiny house. I think we can show you this tiny house at the end of the year, perhaps. Or
yeah,
yes,
that's the idea.
Next slide, please. French Federation of Building create also a commission, bring together around 20 construction contractors to discuss the circular economy. It meets once a month to discuss the management of construction and public works waste and the challenges of economy circular within companies and on work sites. So the aim is to involve professionals and support them in their response to local call for tender. Next slide, please. So two last feedback. Cinétique is an association specialized in circular economy. So they create the prescription for all the projects, and they realize when they work on site that people, most of workers did not read and understand very well French. So they can't, when they made some meetings, they don't have a very good impact to improve the knowledge of every people on the site. So they decide, they create a kind of game on the site installation plan. So the goal is for the worker who deconstruct and who are in charge of waste sorting and deposit resources on site to become actors in order to create a virtuous circle. Making the circular economy and taking care of the resource is just common sense. So the game is structured in 3 parts. Analysis of the structure of the site, the positioning of waste, sorting bin and storage area for deposit resources. Then methodology and resources careful deposit. And at last, explanation of the circular loop carried out. The game is animated by the site manager. It doesn't contain words, and interaction in French are very reduced in minimum. And each worker can participate in each step of the game. The game also contains an exchange time that allows to modify the structure of the game according to the return of each worker. And Cinetic have very good feedbacks on site with proactive workers who initiate action to carefully deposit elements not included in the contract of the construction and carefully removal contract. Next slide, please. And the last feedback is an escape game. French Building Federation have created an escape game. It's a role play with different themes, which are reducing material and energy use, reusing materials, and recycling. The project team goal is in this game to convince the owner of circularity of the project. It's 9 enigma. This impact of the linear economy, the reduction of waste production, short circuit, reuse, waste, and recycling. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jérémy Noga and Julie, for your presentation. Sorry, I'm coughing. It's really nice, I think, to see all the different stakeholders that you engage on board with your project, and also to see the innovative tools that you have developed, also like regarding the hackathon, the tiny house, the escape game as well. So I think at some point Toulouse Metropolis also went beyond their own jurisdiction. I think this is quite interesting to stress this, that you didn't restrict your field of action to your own jurisdiction, and I think it could be inspiring for other local authorities. So actually we're almost at the end of the workshop, so maybe the last poll, because we really want to know more about how your organization can enhance skills in the circular construction sector, especially after this presentation that we hope has been inspiring. So again, same process, scan the QR code. I think the Slido is already open for you. Enter the same code and just answer the question. Also, if there are some question and answer that you want to ask to Toulouse Metropolis, please feel free to put in the chat, but also you can just unmute yourself and speak up directly. I think it will be easier also regarding the timeline. If you want more information on like a specific action as well.
There's one question I can see in the chat, whether we can share a link to the escape game. I think it has piqued the attention of someone. So if you can share some links with the build-up skills, and this will be posted in the chat, if that's possible.
There is no link for the escape game because it's a presential materials. So we can send some photo, some pictures of it, and that's all.
Yeah, I think it's just very interesting, and maybe any materials you can share could be shared with the audience would be interesting.
I can put the we've got a website with all materials. I will put it in
Yeah,
the
please, if we can share this, it will be nice. And also like the game that you have developed for non-French speaker as well. I think this one could be maybe duplicate or replicate for other countries. I think it could be interesting to share this. I don't know if it's already on the website. I assume that you will share the Life Waste to Build
No,
website, but
it
not
was
yet.
just a first experience on
Okay.
different sites. And now Cinetic is working on publish this game for everyone who want it in France
Okay.
or also
Or somewhere else, yeah.
somewhere, yes.
Okay. So it will be published on Cinetic website or on Life Waste to Build website?
Not yet. You can't see it, but
No,
we are working. Yes, we are working on to make something you can have for. I don't know if what economic model is going to be after.
I don't know, Jeremy. Yeah.
I put the address in the chat box.
Yeah.
So you can see there is a toolkit, a toolbox, sorry, with all resources, public resources, and we will implement it later. And don't hesitate if you have any needs or questions. You gotta contact.
Great.
Thanks
I
a
think
lot. Yeah.
you post it to build up because we cannot share. You cannot post to all the participants, but build up will reshare
okay.
just right after. That's why it didn't appear.
Okay.
It hasn't appeared yet on the chat. I think maybe you were wondering why.
Yeah.
And in the poll, we can see some quite interesting contributions from our audience here. Thanks a lot for sharing that. So yeah, pilot projects are very important. Training clauses, maybe if you can precise what kind of training clauses would be required or interesting. Yeah, and policy and objectives concerning the circular economy and strategies. I don't know if you, Leslie, have any comments on what we're saying. And please, if you have any other thoughts, just share them via the Slido. It's quite easy and intuitive to use.
Yeah, maybe I just have a comment on the person who has written to try to assist clients such as local authorities. So I assume actually that this is not a local authority who has wrote this, but maybe it would be nice, I don't know actually who wrote this, maybe to know, are you already in contact with local authorities and do you think they are keen to write such policy and objectives regarding circular economy? But I don't know if the person is here.
Hi, that's me. Yeah, I think they are keen. It's just maybe they are in the process of hiring climate change officers and people like that. But you know, they're at a learning curve themselves about circular economy. So I think the more information we have in platforms such as this, the better it will be.
Yeah, and sorry, can you just introduce yourself and which organization are you working on?
Sorry, I work with I'm working for a local authority in Ireland on a plan for a peatland. And one of the issues is, of course, what structures on the peatland are made of and where should we source materials or try to reuse.
Okay. Great. Yeah, I know that in Ireland you are already doing a lot. There was actually this example on SkillsNet actually, where the Irish government gives fundings for to train the employees in the construction companies.
Yeah, we're
I
probably
also
lucky
know
to have the Green Party in coalition government at the moment. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe just a last question to Toulouse, and after I will give the word to build up teams. Because actually you do a lot, but maybe just like as key takeaways, what has been the quick win? What has been like the action that has been easiest to implement, to start, maybe like just to inspire people to start with, not too difficult action? What would be the one that you recommend?
Regarding building skills?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Acton was a very quick win because it speaks a lot. A lot of students were very enthusiastic to develop circular economy and to get so, and it's quite pleasant to see that the next generation will do will build differently.
So basically, to work with students, like the hackathon is the action, but maybe to work with students and to engage like the new generation on board.
Yeah, but it's not sufficient. Of course,
No,
we got to share best practices continually. It's a long time, but it's very useful to prove that it is possible to build differently.
Yeah, it's sure. It's a long journey. We all know this, but at least we have to start. So, okay. Well, thanks a lot, everyone, for taking the time to participate to this webinar. If there is no more question, I will give the floor to Build Up for the thank you and wrap up.
Quickly, we would like to, on behalf of the BUS-GoCircular project, thank Build Up Skills for hosting this webinar and all the technical help we have received, and to all the participants for being here, your questions, your engagement, and all speakers for being here today. So thanks a lot. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, sorry. On that note, then I think we can round off. So yes, a big thank you as well to the speakers and also to the audience from Build Up side for attending today's webinar. A reminder that you will be able to find the recording of today's session on the Build Up portal and also on our YouTube in the coming days, together with the presentation slides. So if you missed part or if you want to share with a colleague, they'll be able to see as well. So we have many webinars planned for the second half of 2023, including the remaining sessions of the BUS-GoCircular project webinar series, the next of which will take place on November 14. So keep an eye on the Build Up calendar and our social media, where we'll provide updates on these. So we wish you all a very pleasant week, and thank you again, and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a
Bye.
nice day.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.